So, hey everyone, how you guys doing? I hope you guys enjoying a really good weekend. Today we're discussing trauma in general, but also talking about how can you relate to one another when somebody's having that excited feelings, and how to deal with it to really make sure you recover and compensate and really get over that hump. So today's discussion about that, which is one key word is called attunement, which we're gonna uncover a little bit. So just a quick introduction to who I am. I'm Jay Abraham, the founder of Metanoia Academy, the love journey, which is to deal with your toxic behavior, toxic relationship, toxic past, and how to overcome and get out of it and have a healthy, powerful relationship. One with yourself first, and the other one with your partner. That's exactly what the Metanoia Academy is all about, the love journey. We have also other courses in there, but that's predominantly what we do. Just focus on your toxic relationship, toxic past, and how to become a contender, a fighter, and actually a hero, a leader in your own domain, in your own field, whatever that may be. So let's discuss this. So one of the two things that you have to understand, that especially when you're going through a lot of trauma, there's a concept called the sin of your father. And the sin of your father is really entails the fact that everything that we go through is predominantly derived from our parenthood. So if we have lack of discipline because our parents have lack of discipline, if we have really poor delayed gratification, it's because we were inherited these attributes. Similar thing with your mental health, which is such anxiety, mostly anxiety and depression, schizophrenia. All these ones are inherited from your parents. So your parents really gave you all the genetic makeup that we are today. Similar things with the way your relationship with your partner. If your parents' relationship with their partner is disheveled, you're also gonna have a disheveled relationship with your partner. And this is what really brings about the major concept, which a lot of people don't like to talk about, which is self-sabotage. We tend to self-sabotage ourselves accidentally, but on purpose. We do that because we start feeling the same things are different all of a sudden. So when a relationship is actually so beautiful and romantic and happiness, you start feeling, oh, this feeling I never felt before. I never dealt with this before, and I don't have my parents tell me how to deal with this situation. So because of that, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem accurate. I gotta get out of there before it's too late, and I gotta protect myself. So this is why you get out. So to go back to really understand all the situation, we have to understand two concepts. So whenever you go through traumatic events, traumatic experiences, especially when you're growing up, you present it in two different ways. One, you either become hyper aroused or become dissociated. Hyper aroused when you start becoming on guard almost all the time. When you start thinking yourself, oh man, I gotta protect myself before shit happens. So if somebody throws you off and you start feeling threatened, you start either attacking and you hit. This is the whole same concept of fight, flight, and freeze. So you either fight for your right to survive, or you flee, so just get the attention away from you, straight away run away. Similar thing when the relationships start getting really too heightened and really too getting too emotional, and let's say you're getting too close with one another. So let's say you start moving to the next step, which is let's move in together. Let's say I love you. You start saying, oh shit, this is the threatening stage in my life. I need to get out. And that's why you bolt. Some people bolt without texting. Some people bolt telling them, it's not working. Some people bolt by just criticizing you or themselves, saying, you know what, it's not working for me. You're too possessive. This is moving too fast. I got to get out. Or you say to one another, say, oh no, this is not the relationship that I'm looking for. You start making these faulty fake excuses, and then you get out. Or you freeze, where you start just shutting off, which is the other part of it, is dissociation. Where you dissociate, it just means really you have almost an out of body experience looking at yourself. I like the way it's presented this way, but in definition term, it's just when you start dissociating yourself from the real world. So you start putting this a mental block or wall from the outside world, so you don't have to ever deal with these scenarios ever again. So you dissociate, and this is at times whenever you start arguing with your partner, and your partner starts saying all these things about you, what's the first thing you say? You just shut off. Yes. You're right. Just so you can get the attention away from you. Just so you can. Yeah. So the more you yell, or the more you're telling them, just talk to me. I want to hear you out. Give me what you're feeling. I want to know, understand what you're going through. Tell me what's going on in your mind. Tell me. Well, the first thing you see them doing is, no, there's nothing. Everything's alright. Yeah, yeah, everything's alright. You hear that all the time. You see that all the time because it happens. And it only happens because one, we didn't learn this how to deal with situation like this, and this is all brand new to us. Two, we don't feel safe releasing or revealing our true self to you because we're feeling uncomfortable about who we are as an individual within the relationship, and that's why we can never be the amazing partner that you want us to be. And I know most of you guys will be saying, but I don't want you to be perfect. I just want you to be you. Well, this is them. This is exactly what they're going through. You have just because you've seen a lot of sprinkle of moments where there's so greatness in them or so happiness and you saw them with excitement. That little glimpse is just a little phase that they show you off to tell you, no, no, I'm fine, everything is okay. But the moment shit gets real, that's when the real them come out. And that real them is scared, nervous, very, very, very excited, and they need to understand. Okay, I need to get out. So here's the two. Whenever you're going through these emotions, you express yourself in different ways. If you're the partner of somebody that's going through trauma, the first thing you do is like, talk to me. I want to hear you out. I want to know, understand what you're going through. But your partner's very closed up. This is exactly what's happening. So your energy is here. So you're going through this heightened energy like this, and your partner's this way. So every time you bark, they're gonna, instead of them mimicking you, they're gonna just go quiet and quieter, and then eventually they're just gonna stop. They're just gonna stop talking to you because now you do it like this way. So in order for you to meet them, you gotta really come down to this level and and slowly but gradually excite them enough so you can start mimicking each other, and then thus creating a cohesive, succinct relationship and understanding of one another. So this is what you call attunement, where you start seeing each other eye to eye. So when I tell you, oh, this is effed up, you gotta reply back to me saying it is effed up. I understand what's going through you, because I'm telling you right now, for everything that you've gone through, if I've gone through what you've gone through, I understand why you're going through all this trauma. So you gotta, attunement is where you understand that, but you gotta meet them in their level. So for example, if they're hyper arousal and they're like this, fight or flight, and you're here only, so like this, you gotta meet them here and then calm them down eventually and then meet them back here. So if they say, this is effed up, this is too fast, you're moving too quick, I can't deal with this, you gotta say, yeah, I know, maybe we are moving too fast. How about we just slow it down for a little bit? How about instead of moving together, how about we just have a day, or we just spend a weekend together? Oh, okay, I can deal with a weekend. Okay, yeah, sure, we can do this. Okay, and then we just take it from there. And if it goes far, it goes far. If it doesn't go far, that's that. And then you calm them down. And then you meet them here again. But you're gonna get this or this a lot of the times, especially when the relationship is still in the early stages where the clouds has finally subsided and you start seeing the true selves, their true self, should I say. That's when only you start seeing them really get that either hyper aroused or where they get dissociated. It all depends on how you relate to them. And you have to understand that you cannot charge or force your feelings and your actions towards them to expect them to meet you on a certain level. It's not fair for them and it's not fair to you if you expect them to be in this level by now, because now we've been dating for 2 years while they are still here. You can't really push them up trying to come up to this level, because it's not fair for them. So what you have to learn is that you have to learn to come down halfway and they have to meet you halfway. If they decide to never meet you halfway, that means this person is never going to be saved. It's never going to rise up to that potential. It's never going to come up to that level. That's one. The other part is that maybe you haven't communicated comfortably and peacefully in an attunement type of mentality where they can feel comfortable to come up to that level and meet you almost halfway. In order to do that, you have to make them feel comfortable that they can share with you these stories and stuff. Don't just tell them, share with me, I'm here for you, I want to hear you out. No, you gotta share a story that mimics their story, one. But two, you have to let them know that you're vulnerable and you want to understand what they're going through. But you have to do it in a way that they understand you're not against them. You are with them in this whole journey. But you can't force it. Similar thing with the squirrel, cats. And mostly squirrel and cats, where you're trying to feed them, you can't really rush to them because they'll run away. And that's what I feel most of you guys are doing with the relationship, trying to understand that your partner that's going through trauma, or yourself that's trying to go through trauma and trying to invite yourself to other people, is that you rush with the cookies or the lollies and the food. It's like, here you go. I got all these goodies for you. They'll bolt out. But if you just sit there with acceptance, welcoming, and welcoming nature and inviting nature, and just open your arm with the goodies and stuff, which is saying to you, welcome, I am here. I'm here to save you. I'm here to welcome you. They will eventually come your way and eat off your hand and start to really open up to you and start understanding you. So in order for you to become that, be that person with the open arms, with the food and ready to go. But if you're the person that's going through trauma, you have to finally start taking a chance to make an effort. There's one of the things that people say to you, because we've gone through all the surroundings, because we associate with the surroundings, because we grew up in this upbringing, because of the trauma, because of my mom, because of my dad, all this stuff, this is what's happening to me. So you can either become a victim-minded personality or saying, you know what, no matter what happens to me, this is always going to be my life. I'm always going to go through this, and no matter what happens, everybody in this world, everybody in the relationship, going to reassure or revalidate me in the sense that I knew I was shit. I knew it. So similar things when a relationship is going so smoothly, and then you do one thing that fucks up your partner, and the partner starts saying, look, see, I knew she was too good to be true. I knew she was going to finally turn on me and not be on my side. I knew it. You know what? I need to get out. I need to get out. This is where you understand that what you've done is that you ran away with the food rather than just keep welcoming. So a situation like this, there needs to be conflict, there needs to be argument, there needs to be a debate between different topics. That's fine. But what you're doing here is that when the moment they get scared, they start running away. So this is where you just sit there and you have to wait again and let them come back to you. You have to reassure them, but you have to do it in a human way where they just be like, okay, you know what? This is getting too excited for me. They're like, okay. Just talk to me. What's happening? And then they say, this is effed up. This is not going the right way. You got to use the same terms. I know it's effed up. You know what? The way it sounds at the moment, it sounds like you're getting scared. If I was in your shoe, I would be scared too. You know what? How about we just take a step back and let things mellow out? Okay, sure. What do you have to do? How about we just do this for now? How about we just leave it for now and meet later? You meet them this way, and then you can start talking the topic. But no matter what happens, and this is urge, and I'm urging you guys to hear this and follow this, no matter what happens, the moment things calm down, or if they're in this mental stage and they start to really excite and get a little bit on your level, you have to talk it out. Like, I know it sounds weird, but this is the moment in time where you have to talk it out and figure out what's the levels that you guys are really in. Start talking about, so what just happened? Talk to me. I just want to understand what's going on so I don't have to do it again. Because the last thing I want to do is scare you and make you run away. What is it that I said so it became a trigger word to you? And he'll tell you, or she'll tell you, you said let's move in, and I think that was too scary. Then okay, now you know next time don't use that word, but try to use a different word instead of maybe use the word sleepover. It sounds less than moving in. You can say, how about we have a getaway? That sounds better than moving in. So start using different terms so they know that's not the trigger. Or maybe you're saying, let's commit. Oh, commit is a strong word. Let's go stable. Let's go exclusive. Maybe that's too strong of a word. But let's just say to them, instead of saying all these words, say words that are less threatening to them. It could be a word such as, instead of telling them, let's commit, let's just say, I like the way this is going, and I would like for it to continue going this path. Just make it comforting. Or I like the journey that we're going through, and I'm glad that I have you with me. It's easy. It's just journey. Journeys are fun, like road trip. I like this. But don't say commit. And then soon enough, when you start getting understanding, say, you can even warn them in advance. Say, hey, I would just like to give you a heads up. I just want to understand, where do you feel this is going? Not in a scary way, but I just want to understand, are you loving the way this is going? Or do you feel that we can just keep going a little bit further upward? Give it in a way for them that's confident, and they understand you're not there to scare them. You're not there running away, running with the sweets and the food and the treats towards them again, and they'll just bolt out. Just wait it out. Wait, you have to be patient. If you are the one that's chosen your partner, and your partner has this traumatic events in the past, you have to be respectful, understanding that this is the life that you chose. And if it's not it is, then I'd rather you just walk away rather than try to change them to become something better and bigger. That's not fair to them, and that's really selfish of you trying to expect them to rise up to a potential that's only in your head, when in reality they haven't gone through. There's a lot of scenarios, there's a lot of research and actually scientific findings that tell you that people that go through traumatic events, their brain has not develop further. So even though biologically or chronologically they are 30 years old, 40 years old, but really biologically and mental health wise they are way low level than that. Their brain capacity is could be of a 20-year-old or 22-year-old or even 18-year-old. So their brain hasn't conceptualized the idea that they have to think critically, skeptically. They have to think in the future. They can't, because their brain hasn't hasn't formed accurately, and because of that, it's not fair on you to ask them to come up to that level when they're cognitively they can't. They're gonna continue struggling, and then when you get tired of all that stuff, they're gonna start validating themselves, saying, "I knew it. I knew I was shit. I knew I was crap. Nobody will love me. I am unlovable. What's the point of me continue trying? Maybe it's better for me to just to walk away and leave the scenario." And that's what's gonna go through this mentality. And as they go through this mentality a lot, they're gonna start blaming others, and they're gonna have one of those called character disorder, where they start blaming the system and the world, that they're the one that caused them all these horrific situations. And these are the two major things that happen. So, just to quickly summarize, just make sure that if you're in dating somebody with a traumatic relationship, a toxic relationship from their past with their parents, or they even past experience, they have to go through a level of recovery on their own. But you have to be that person that either welcomes them with a treat, or the person that just says, "You know what, I can't handle that much horrific baggage, that I need to just leave." It's fair on you to just to do that, but it's also fair on them to understand that, okay, maybe this person wasn't the right person for me. But there's no point of you staying in a relationship for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and then realizing, "Oh shit, I should have stopped then," and then really get angry at them because you're angry at yourself because you didn't leave. You understand the cycle? So they will continue self-sabotaging. They will continue self-inflicting themselves with pain, and they're going to continue challenging to see if you are actually with them in the long run, or you're just doing this for the sake of charity towards them. That's how they feel, unfortunately. That's how they understand the circumstances, unfortunately. But this is to understand. So they're either going to become hyperactive, hyper-aroused, where fight, flight, or freeze, or they're going to dissociate and just really say nothing to you. So the more you bark, the more quiet they become, and the more dissociated they'll become. Or if they're hyper aroused and you're trying to calm them down, they're gonna feel like, okay, you're threatening them, you're against their agenda. They're gonna just have to leave and walk away before you start attacking them again. So I'll either fight you, or I'll just run away and never let you know, which is self-sabotaging, or I'll just freeze and just shut you out completely. And it will happen a lot, and it will happen very, very, very often. And this is why whenever in a relationship things start getting heating up, or things start moving to a higher level, they start realizing, "Oh shit, this is my time to run away," because now such and such will finally see the true me, and he or she will get angry and leave, or he or she will not like who I truly am, and just leave. This is a cycle, and it will continue growing, and it will continue happening. So in the academy that I run, we make sure how to go through these steps to really engage and love yourself first, in order for you to become welcoming and acceptance toward all the others that will welcome you and nourish you into this journey that you want to go through. You have to understand, people with toxic behaviors, they're not doing this. They don't do this on purpose. They only do this to survive the relationship, to survive life. And you might seem like you're trying to help them, but to them, you might be the enemy, even though you love them cherishly. So you just have to understand how to move forward with this, how to really engage with them. And the only way to do that is by attunement, by meeting them on their level, or meeting them on whatever level they want you to be, and just have a welcoming arm. Let them come to you, negotiate that, and that's the only way you can move forward and have a lovely, healthy relationship. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and much love. Jay Abraham, the founder of Metanoia Academy Love Journey. Much love. See ya.